Hey, guess what? It's time for the bizarre, the unusual, the strange, the macabre, the unusual even, beyond spooky, beyond creepy. That's right, we're looking at some videos from the YouTube channel Beyond Creepy because it's whoa, Weird Wednesday. That's right, I like Beyond Creepy and their videos, and I said, fuck it, let's do that. Let's do that for Weird Wednesday. Let's just look at some Beyond Creepy videos. That's the channel, not a description of what they are. I mean, they could be if you want them to be. I'm not your mom. Your dad mom, if you will. Your dom. So we've got some Beyond Creepy for you, the viewers, right now that you can watch. You can stop it anytime you like, and there's nothing you can do about it. So let's start with the night the aliens checked in. This is from Beyond Creepy. I love this channel. Go check them out. Even though I'm not like super into paranormal crap and all that stuff, I long for this to look better. So one moment, chat, while I get this working. I should really just download these videos and then just stream them that way, because that would be a lot easier on me. That would be so much easier on me. One moment. We will, after these messages, we'll be right back. I crave good things, chat. I crave it to look better than this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch chat on my phone. That way, I can watch this in full screen and it look less like shit. So that way, I can read the chat. It's essentially I'm creating a second monitor using the power of my phone. I really need to just get second monitoring going on. So yeah, hope y'all been having a good day. More GTA 6 leaks are happening apparently, and they're gonna keep happening, and I'm like, good. I'm one of those people who does want GTA 6 to fail. Just because it's just too much, man. Okay, let's see how this looks full screen. Get that all up and ready. And then we'll begin with the night the aliens checked in. Oh, that looks so much better. Anyways, this is from a channel called Beyond Creepy. You should go listen to them. We're gonna listen to their thingies, and Beyond Creepy presents Aliens! I like their YouTube stuff. Okay, the night the aliens checked in, you say. I love the music. This is good stuff to sleep to, surprisingly. I don't know why, I think it's the music they use. It's just shooting. It's shooting. Oh, hey, I live in St. Louis. I live in St. Louis. Well, I live near St. Louis. I live near there. I live there. Near there. Some UFO researchers, so that means that there are some that do not. Some are just like, no.
It was May 15th, 1970. Dorothy Simpson.
Yep.
A front desk.
So, when I was a lad, I took a field trip to the Arch. And then there's an elevator up there, right? There's an elevator up in the Arch. I was too afraid to go up on top of the Arch. And also, that elevator it's claustrophobic. You don't want to go there.
Hotel in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yep,
was
I've been there.
examining billing documents at her desk when she heard a scurry. Simpson, a front desk clerk at a small motel in St. Louis, Missouri, was examining billing documents.
Oh, I thought they said bailing documents there for a second.
Quote, whistling sigh. She peered up, and on the other side of the desk stood 4 tiny people.
Tiny
Apparently
people, you
members of
say?
a family, a couple and their 2 children. All 4
Hmm.
looked strikingly alike. All were youthful looking, and the children were nearly the height of the ostensible parents. They barely reached the level of the desk. They were all expensively dressed, the males in tailored suits, the females in pastel peach dresses. Their
Okay,
hair did not
fancy
look
dressed
real.
aliens.
Odd as it seemed, Simpson suspected that they were wearing wigs. In a falsetto voice, the man said, "Do you have a room to stay? Do you have a room to stay?" After assigning them a room, Dorothy indicated the amount they would have to pay. The male seemed to not understand what she said. He turned to his female companion, as if expecting her to clarify matters, but she remained silent. An uncomfortable period of silence followed,
Oh,
broken
awkward
finally when
silence.
the man
Never a
reached
fan of
into his
that.
pocket and pulled out a thick wad of bills, many of a large denomination. The bills were so crisp and new that Simpson wondered if they were counterfeit. With some quick informal
Okay, now that sounds like a great idea for like a gangster movie. It turns out it's not the gangsters who are counterfeiting the dollar bills. No, it's aliens from beyond the stars.
testing suggested that they were not. She pulled 2 $20 bills from the pile of cash and gave the rest back to the male. Because the man was too short to reach up and fill out the reservation form, Simpson said she would do it for him. The man gave his name as A. Bell. As he
Okay,
stepped forward, she got a
Bell.
better look at him and was able to compare his face with his companion's. According to investigator John Schroeder, whose composite descriptions came from his interviews with Simpson and many other
Yeah, that just
motel
looks like a
employees
guy.
who encountered them.
Okay. Am I going insane? But does this kind of look like if you photoshopped Germa's face with it looks like someone combined Germa with someone else's face, and I can't quite put it together who this Photoshop is of. That is it looks like kind of a combination of Germa and just someone else. God, it's gonna bother me.
They were wide at eye level, their faces thinned abruptly to their chins.
When the little
Their
man
eyes
is
were
sus.
large,
I'm sorry.
dark, and slightly slanted. Their noses had practically no bridges and 2 slits for nostrils, and their mouths were tiny and lipless, no wider than their nostrils. Some employees described their skin color as pearl to pinkish gray to light gray. The one thing they all agreed on was that they were uniformly pale. While waiting for
Okay,
the
really
bellhop
pale
to
people.
arrive, Dorothy asked them where they were from. Curiously, the man's arm shot upward, as if pointing to the sky, and he said, "We come from up there." Up there. His female companion quickly pushed his arm down and spoke for the first time. She said that they were from Hammond, Indiana, and she even gave them a street address, which Dorothy and a manager who had arrived at the desk later checked. The register was brought over to the man who signed it. It was so awkward that Dorothy actually wondered if he'd ever used a pen before. At that point, the woman asked about a place to eat. Dorothy pointed them in the direction of the motel restaurant.
You know what?
While the bellhop
I hope these aliens had a nice family vacation in St. Louis, Missouri on Earth. Maybe that's the reason why my city is kind of cursed. St. Louis is kind of cursed. Is because the aliens came, they did not have a good time.
loaded up their bags on a cart, the family went down to the restaurant and ate. At the manager's insistence, Dorothy checked the Indiana address and learned that the address didn't exist. Intrigued, the manager had the bellhop check the parking lot for a car with an Indiana license plate, but he found nothing. The hostess who led the strange family to a table in the restaurant noticed that the chins of even the adults barely reached the top of the table. The man read aloud from the menu and kept asking odd questions about where milk, vegetables, and other common foods come from. The woman ordered peas and milk for herself and the children, and for the man, peas, a small steak, and water. Their eating was similarly peculiar. Each picked up a single pea with a knife, brought it to his or her tiny mouth, and inhaled it with a sucking sound.
That sounds kind of gross, not gonna lie to you.
A piece of steak through a slit of a mouth. Suddenly they stopped eating all at the same time. With that, the man produced a $20 bill and gave it to the waitress, who went to get change. When she
Hey, Cosby, we're watching Beyond Creepy. The night the aliens checked in, we're watching Beyond Creepy videos, just because I felt like it. I just like the idea of these aliens, like this little alien family going on like a vacation in St. Louis, Missouri for some reason. And they're just having a nice time, you know.
returned,
We're gonna probably do more Beyond Creepy
when
videos.
The bellhop saw them later, he retrieved their baggage and stepped into the elevator to lead them to their room. When the elevator door opened, though, the family recoiled in fright and confusion. The bellhop had to assure them they were in no danger. After letting them into the room, he turned on the lights, which caused the man to become enraged. He began shouting at the bellhop that the light would hurt the children's eyes.
Fair enough.
The bellhop found the reaction to be odd.
Fair enough.
Now alone in the room with them, he instantly became frightened and sensed that he needed to get away. After setting down the bags, he rushed out of the room, not even bothering with the
So
tip.
yeah, did you see those GTA 6
The
leaks?
manager and Simpson
And how people are just
vowed to watch
leaking
for the
GTA
little
6,
people's
and I'm
departure
glad
in the
for it.
morning, but it never happened.
Yes, leak the
Curiously, they were
gameplay.
never seen again. Though
Leak
the front
it.
doors was the only door they could pass through without setting off a security alarm, and not once did any employee ever see any of the family
Yeah,
members.
tell me when
pass
there's
through it.
aliens, then I'll
A
be
quick
more
check
interested.
of the room found that all their bags were gone too. The motel's alarms were checked and were found to be in proper working order. As strange as it might sound, and were found to be in proper working order. As strange
That's
as it
unusual.
might sound, to the hotel staff, it seemed as though this family had simply vanished off the face
But
of the earth.
how?
A UFO study group based out of St. Louis were informed of the strange incident, which was looked into by investigator and author John Schroeder.
Never heard of John
meticulously
Schroeder.
Tracked down and interviewed all 5 employees who had interacted with the family, including having them sketch and describe the family to the best of their ability. He also examined the signature of the mail on the register and the bogus Hammond address. In the end, Schroeder found the employees to be honest and sincerely bewildered by the curious series of events.
I mean, this doesn't sound like anything bad or anything like that. This just sounds like an alien family just went on vacation on Earth for reasons unknown to us, and they just, you know, ate their meal, had a place to sleep, then left. I like to imagine maybe they just had a pit stop somewhere else, and they had to go to Earth to, you know, eat food and poop and whatnot. You know, Earth is like the equivalent of that gas station off the road where you have to go to when you're on a road trip. Like that. You know, that seems not bad or angry to me. Next up is odd and obscure alien Okay, I have a question for you. Do you want this in full screen? Or is this okay? Do you prefer the full screen or the other this way? I'll let you decide. You get to be the people who decide here. Okay, this way is fine then. Odd and obscure UFO cases. Let's see. Beyond Creepy presents. I like their stuff. It's really helpful to sleep with. I think it's the music choices they pick, in my humblest of onions.
If you spend time scouring old UFO magazines and newsletters, you will find scores of odd, obscure cases that seemingly nobody has heard about. Cases that stand out as ultra weird, but received very little attention beyond a brief write-up in one of those often defunct publications. In this video, I decided to dust off some of these oddities and present them to you guys.
Okay.
Join me.
Where do flying saucers, spacemen come from? Rick has it figured out, but who's Rick? That's the real mystery.
As I delve into obscure but true UFO cases.
Okay, I'm ready, Mr. Beyond Creepy. Harold Beyond Creepy.
Beginning in 1959.
Okay, for a second there, I thought that read as the telephoned stories, like, what? Telephoned? Huh?
Join me as I delve into
Quoi?
obscure but true UFO cases.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the teleported stories.
Beginning in 1959,
How was your day today? I hope it was fine.
Object was observed hovering stationary in the air above the Fleetwood Elementary School in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. Why it was there, nobody knew, but it showed up 6 nights in a row and was seen by school children and at least one adult 6 nights in a row and was seen by school
Oh, it's
children
one way
and
from
at
the
least one
5
adult.
nights, so therefore it is more spooky.
On the evening of November 23rd, 1962, at around 10:30 p.m., it returned.
I feel like I've seen this art somewhere. I don't know where exactly I've seen this from. But I have just a suspicious feeling that I've seen this art somewhere before.
About it. School student Miles White and his mother and Miles' friend Mike Williams had heard about it and decided to walk over to the school on the evening of Friday, November 30th, 1962.
1962.
They wondered if the object would return, and it did. A shining object with a bluish light, which appeared in the sky hovering briefly over the school's bell tower. And then it was gone.
Okay, that's
On
unusual.
Saturday, December 1st, Miles and his mother returned to the school at 9 o'clock and again saw it hovering, this time over the schoolyard about 20 feet off the ground.
I don't think anything ever happened
It appeared to be
paranormally
almost
in the high
transparent
school
or
I went
ghost-like,
to.
and they actually referred
The
to
weirdest
it as
things
a
I knew were
sky
people were
book.
just like smoking drugs in the old
It was
buildings.
close enough to them that they
Like they were
decided to
mostly
pick
just
up some
smoking weed in
stones
the
and toss them
bathroom
at the
of the
object.
cafeteria.
They threw stones at it, and after about twice the time
That's
expected
the
for
weirdest
the
thing I
stones
can
to
think
fall
of
to
off the top of
ground,
my doodle that happened in my high
they
school.
were
I'm
heard
sorry.
falling on the roof of the one-story school annex building behind their backs in the opposite direction to which they were thrown. The object soon departed, and Miles and his mother returned home.
I see.
Later, an excited Miles spoke to Mike, and the pair decided to go see a late movie. During the show, Mike noted that Miles' speech became slurred, didn't make any sense.
That's weird.
He
Why?
actually fell asleep during the movie. Miles had complained earlier of feeling a, quote, buzzing in the head. It seems that something else might have happened to Miles and his mother at that schoolyard.
Yeah, but what
The
could
story
cause a
originally
mild
appeared
buzzing in your
local
head and like
area
a speech
newspapers.
impediment, I wonder?
The boys, as well as Mrs. White, were reluctant to talk of their experiences, fearing ridicule. APRO investigator W.K. Allen reached out to Mike and Miles and interviewed them about the case. When Miles and his mother tossed the stones,
Did he
at
say
the object,
Afro
they
investigator?
noted that there was no
Because that sounds
impact
like
and
a
that the stones
really
did
really
not fall to
weird
the ground
black
as expected.
exploitation movie.
Rather, the stones seemed swallowed
Sherlock
up by something,
Holmes.
which then spit
You know
them
what?
out.
Sherlock Holmes, Afro investigator. My God, I've done it. You know, a black Sherlock Holmes, black exploitation film called Sherlock Holmes, Afro investigator. And then we could do Sherlock Holmes versus the whack-ass Martians. Will be the second movie. I think I'm on to hear something.
Moments later,
Someone make this happen! Someone needs to
in an
make
area
Sherlock
contrary
Holmes a
to the
thing!
stone's expected trajectories,
Someone please make Sherlock
it was
Holmes a
almost as if
thing!
The object passed through a portal.
Someone needs to make
They
Sherlock
focused on
Homey a
them
thing.
and
I don't
behind
care. You could have that for free. I'm sorry.
When they tossed the stones, they entered the portal only to be expelled out the other side, which was stones they ended in front of them and behind them. When they tossed the stones, they entered the portal only to be expelled out the other
The
side,
Infinity Stones.
which was behind the pair, almost like the stones had teleported.
Okay, that's weird.
On May 3rd, 1967, at around 6:30 a.m., Mrs. Ruth S. Smith was driving westbound on the Schuylkill Expressway, approximately 6 miles out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay, after we're done with this one, is there any Beyond Creepy videos you'd like me to check out or see? Like anyone you think I would think is interesting, or just beyond the odd and obscure, and just any of the Beyond Creepy videos you'd like me to see?
When she noticed an object a little above and ahead of her car. There had been rain when she left the city, but it had stopped, and there was a heavy overcast.
I'm sorry,
Smith
dude.
was following a diesel-powered Greyhound moving van, traveling at about 58 to 60 miles per hour. She said the object, a disc-shaped thing, which was a gunmetal gray color,
Disc-shaped thing.
around the division between the top and the bottom, seemed to be following the moving van. She noted that the top section of the craft appeared to be revolving, as if on a central axis.
I thought he said
Around
top
the darker
section of
van
the
was a
crap.
row of, quote,
I'm sorry.
unlighted porthole sort of windows. There was no light emanating from nor surrounding the craft. Using telephone poles for comparison, Smith estimated
Oh
the
no,
craft
Beyond
was
Creepy
pacing
is
the
soothing
moving
me.
van at about 65 to 70 miles per hour and was no more than 150 feet in the air. It appeared to be 35 to 40 feet in diameter and about 20 feet thick. There were no visible wings or fins, but a thin stream of vapor issued from a sort of exhaust pipe. It was solid and metallic in appearance. The driver dropped back in order to see it better, and all of a sudden the stream of vapor changed to cherry red sparks.
Is it still
and the
ridiculously
object
hot
shot
where
straight
you're
up
at,
into the
Cosby?
overcast and disappeared from sight.
It managed to
moment, the
finally
vapor
cool
changed
off
to
a little
sparks.
here because of the
Smith
rain.
claimed that she got, quote, the worst toothache
Ugh,
she
I'm
has
sorry.
ever had in her life. A few seconds after the
Goddamn
object
aliens
disappeared,
giving me a
the
toothache with their
went away.
UFO.
Smith spoke to an investigator with APRO, who noted that when asked about the toothache, she described that the entire upper right side of her jaw ached, but one spot
Instead
was
of being
worse than
eons
the other.
ago, brothers from
There
outer
was a
space
place
gave
where
us
there was no
toothache.
tooth. The craft was like nothing I have ever seen in the air or on the ground, and I shall never forget it. I must know where it came from and why it was here, who or what was operating it, Smith noted.
Zipper rough.
A man, Bradley, no last name was provided, claimed to have had a bizarre experience with beings that left him minus a tooth. He
Weird.
claims that while visiting Moberly, Missouri, he encountered
A lot of
some
Missouri
strange
in this
people that he was
video
certain
now.
were not Missouri left him minus a tooth. He claims that while visiting Moberly, Missouri, he encountered some
What is with the
strange
damn
people
space
that he was
aliens coming
certain
to
were
my
not
home
human.
state, giving people
They somewhat
toothaches?
resembled the gray type beings we are all so familiar with. Large heads, large eyes, etc. Curiously, a few years later, around May 2012, Bradley was at his home in Columbia, Missouri.
Oh, I've been there
talking to his
before.
mother about the figures he encountered in Moberly.
My little brother went to
At the
college
time,
in
he was
Columbia,
suffering with a
Missouri.
severe toothache,
So when I visited him there,
and he jokingly told his mother
sometimes
that he wished
I've been
that the
there.
beings
It's like
would
a
come
few
and
hour
remove the
drive from
wisdom
here.
tooth, causing him so much discomfort. And apparently they heard him. According to Bradley, a couple of days after telling his mother this, at about 4 o'clock in the morning, he was sitting outside in his backyard taking in the night air. He noted that it was cloudy, but he could see the moon above the trees. In the blink of an eye, everything suddenly got brighter. He looked up and noticed that the once overcast sky was now almost entirely clear. Then something caught his eye.
Open were the double D's of the horizon.
Light, maybe 300 feet off the ground.
Quality
moving
stream, Ted.
Away
Sorry.
From him. It was moving back up into one of the few remaining clouds. Bradley looked back into the field behind his home and observed that the entire field was lit up.
I don't know why aliens would come all the way to Earth to give someone a toothache.
The light of...
Okay, that just made me think of something. Alien... Would that be the equivalent of, like, alien YouTube pranksters? Like, check it out! We're gonna give this underdeveloped species toothaches! Whoa! You better click that button and like that bell! Whoa! 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 Hey, check it out! I'm gonna skin this cow alive! What?
above soon receded completely into the clouds.
We probed this human! You won't want to know what happens next! Whoa!
The next day, Bradley
okay, that's enough, I'm sorry.
His wisdom tooth was gone.
Now I'm just imagining alien YouTube prank channels.
As he had not felt it come out
I'm sorry.
On its own. When your wisdom teeth have been impacted for years, you know when one is gone. I realized that in that second when everything got brighter, I realized I must have lost a few minutes of time or something. I think that is what must have happened. The idea of advanced beings coming down and extracting a man's tooth at his supposed request seems utterly ludicrous, but who knows? Preston Dennett, in his book UFO Healings, lists hundreds of such cases of ETs healing people. It is possible that the man's tooth...
Does this guy look like someone's...
without him realizing.
I don't know, he looks familiar is all I'm saying.
An extraterrestrial link, but who knows?
Doesn't do these grays look specifically very, I don't know, unhappy / constipated? I'm sorry, I'll stop now. I apologize.
On August 7, 1967, Dr. Luis Sanchez Vega, a well-known general practitioner in Caracas, Venezuela, received a visit from an odd patient. A figure less than 4 feet tall had apparently strolled into his office. The story, as told by Vega, was that this little man, he was reluctant to call him that, had appeared in his office and the doctor had no idea how he got in. He spoke perfect Spanish and requested a physical examination. He then told Vega not to be surprised at his abnormally high temperature, as he was, quote, not from Earth. The doctor could tell just...
I like how just upfront this alien is about being a bebop spaceman. I like how upfront this alien is about how being like a spaceman from beyond time and space.
From his appearance that he was
from
not
another
some
world.
Deformed person or something like that. Whatever this thing was, it was not human. The figure had a large round head, large round eyes, no ears or even ear holes, a slit-like mouth, and very strange teeth. He had a total of 10 teeth, 5 above and 5 below. The little man told Vega that his name was, quote, Astrum, and that he came from another told Vega that his name was, quote, Astrum.
Okay, for a second there I thought he said ass
that he
something
and his
else,
kind
you know,
learned
sorry.
languages with the use of a machine. That their
A
reproduction
machine?
was not like that of Earth beings, and he had no parents. He
Okay.
also claimed that the Earth had undergone a cataclysmic change some 9,000 years ago, and that if people weren't careful, one could be caused again. He spoke
Is that a threat?
specifically of a fissure running under the Sea of Caracas, which would, in time, collapse, causing great disaster. Vega
Okay.
performed a very brief
Thank you,
examination,
weird spaceman.
noting that his lung capacity was normal and his pulse rate was incredibly slow. As the figure left, in front of other people and the doctor, he proceeded to levitate a pencil before vanishing in plain sight.
That's...
Almost immediately after, Vega suffered a heart attack, which he would later claim was brought on by the strange encounter. Vega's brother,
levitates a
Julio,
pestle, refuses to
eventually leaked the
explain,
story to the press.
leaves your planet.
UFO investigator Carlos Castillo would later interview Vega about the curious incident.
This incident just makes me think of, like, like someone messing with a monkey in the zoo. It's like
though he
that
did not
kind of,
provide any more details about the strange event beyond what was already known. It is unclear why an extraterrestrial being with all their advances in science and medicine would need to visit an earthly doctor. I doubt his visit had anything to do with a medical checkup, and more to do with being alone with the doctor, possibly to conduct his own experiment or examination. I do wonder if something else occurred in that office beyond the brief exam and chatter about past and future events. Is it just a coincidence that this man suffered a heart attack after the visit? Or was that the objective? I have heard of other stories and even had one sent to me personally, in which people have claimed to have seen strange beings in hospital waiting rooms, but this is probably one of the most bizarre. This being not only appeared in a doctor's office, revealed itself, allowed itself to be examined, and levitated an object before vanishing in front of other witnesses.
I don't know, that feels like an alien equivalent of a practical joke in my humblest of onions.
Which goes against the norms of most ET behavior. Either he was really bold or simply didn't care about any fallout, either from his kind or ours. But again, why? What was the point? What was he trying to accomplish?
You've got good questions there, Beyond Creature.
In October
Beyond Creepy.
1991,
English is a language, I'm sorry.
in North Caucasus, Russia, a witness awoke to the strange sight of her TV lit up.
Okay.
On the screen there was a black and white image of a bald, thin man with large eyes.
Oh no, it's Goose
As
Barn.
if it was the most natural thing in the world, the man in the TV began to ask
Oh no,
the
it's
witness
Goose
a series
Barn.
of questions, which she calmly answered. The witness noted that it was odd, though she felt no fear, and her reactions were not typical of a person confronted with the realization that a man in their TV was talking to them.
Yeah, I'd freak
Remember,
out.
This was 1991, years before two-way video chats would become a reality.
Yeah, I'd be a little weirded out by this back in the 90s.
Into a heavy sleep. In the morning, upon waking, she realized that the TV was not even on. Her husband, who slept through the entire event, confirmed that in the evening he himself had pulled the cord out of the socket.
Okay, that's
The
weird.
witness lived on the 4th floor in a 5-story building. 2 months later, in December, 2 human-like figures entered her bedroom from the balcony. They ordered her to turn on the nightlight. They covered her legs with a blanket and lit up the left side of her abdomen with a red light. What came next was like something out of a science fiction movie.
Okay, I'm a little weirded
The
out.
witness raised up and watched as one of the men stretched out his hand, noting his skin was gray, and with 2 fingers very methodically severed her skin in the area. He then inserted a tube that he had taken from his breast pocket, and suddenly a dark green liquid began to flow through the tube into a flask at the other end.
Oh, thank you,
Having filled the
aliens, for
flask
draining me of
halfway,
this weird mystery
They
fluid.
removed the tube and illuminated the area with a purple light. There was no scar visible after the incident. She then heard the 2 men speak to each other. One of the entities said, "Pancreas, these are the diseases on Earth." Then she watched them leave and noticed that they wore high boots, gray suits, and had hands with only 2 fingers. She could not see any facial features.
Yeah, this just sounds like aliens
At the
got rid
very
of a
door the
disease for
balcony,
her.
One looked back, shook one of his fingers at her, and said, "Do not eat late at night. It destroys you."
Yeah, this just
When
seems
they
like
left,
nice
the clock
advice
read
from
3:20
friendly space
and the door
aliens.
of the balcony was closed.
Like, sure, they're a little
After the
creepy, but they
incident, she
cured my
felt
disease
pain
and
on
gave
her
me
left
good
side and
advice.
suffered from headaches. It is not entirely clear what the beings extracted from her, though it is interesting in that they seem to want to warn her about eating late at night. And also they mentioned the pancreas. I wonder if they are, in their own way, referring to diabetes. Vladimir G. Azaz, Ph.D., wrote of the case in the Russian publication Libma. He does not state whether or not the witness herself suffered from diabetes, and if she did, had they cured her. Possibly they were warning her of what might come if she did not change her lifestyle and eating choices. Who knows? It is interesting to think that beings from some other galaxy or dimension might be interested in what we humans are choosing to eat and how we choose to live our lives.
That just seems
This
somewhat
file case
benevolent in
could be
my
found
humblest
the
onion, I'm
declassified
sorry.
British Royal Air Force files. The report refers to the main witness as a spinster. She was a middle-aged woman who had lived in the small village of Avebury in England all of her adult life, and who was fascinated by archaeological history. She spent many a night strolling among Avebury's famous Stonehenge-like formations.
Oh, well, I've always wanted to go to Stonehenge. Haven't you been to Stonehenge, Cosby? That's one of those places I want to go, like the Aztec pyramids and the pyramids in Egypt.
1962,
just to sort of like, wow, that's cool, that's neat. I've done that.
And she had a front row seat for it. On that night, she had been out walking when she observed a small ball of light, perhaps 2 feet in diameter, gliding slowly through the stones. She recognized instantly that this was no conventional object.
I technically did not visit, but I did take a photo of it while passing in a bus. Ah, I see.
She watched as it closed in on her at a height of about 12 feet. The ball then stopped 15 feet or so from her, and small amounts of what looked like liquid metal slowly and silently.
Oh no, it's the T-1000.
To the ground.
I'm gonna stop, I'm sorry.
Then in an instant, the ball exploded in a bright white flash. For a brief moment, she was blinded by its intensity. She dropped to her knees. When her eyes cleared, however, she was faced with a horrific sight. The ball of light had gone, but on the ground in front of her was what she could only describe as a monstrous, writhing worm. The creature, the woman noted, was about 5 feet long, perhaps 8 to 9 inches
big-ass
thick,
worm,
and its skin was milk white. As the witness slowly rose...
Is that the caterpillar from the Tim Burton? Yeah, I hate that movie, I'm sorry.
Turned suddenly in her direction, and 2 bulging eyes opened. When it began to move unsteadily towards her in a caterpillar-like fashion, she emitted a hysterical scream.
Yeah, I'd run too.
Rushing back home, she slammed the door shut and frantically called the airbase, after having been directed to them by less than impressed police officers.
I'd get away from the weird writhing worm monster.
The next day to interview the woman. Some officers found it to be a joke, though others found her to be entirely credible, and they wondered what exactly happened that night. Had she really encountered a giant caterpillar from space? While some might scoff at this account, it should be noted that a similar massive caterpillar was observed in 1994 in Ashland, Oregon. The primary witness noted that it seemed to behave not unlike a dog would, with an owner, excitedly circling the being's feet. The account was detailed in Tom Lyon's UFO Frightening Encounters Volume 3. Anyway, that's this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed.
Next up is Bizarre Paranormal Encounters with the UFO people.
In 1975, Bob and Laurel Gilkey.
These two look like high school teachers or some kind of family from a sitcom.
2 young newlywed hippies had jumped in their van
and decided to go on
a 3-month trip up the California coast, then into Washington, and then back around. They stopped and swam at every body of water they could find, and spent most evenings camping out under the stars.
I've never been to Mount Rainier.
Near the end of their trip in July 1975, they were near Mount Rainier, Washington, driving on a back road, when they saw a poorly made sign tacked to a post that read, UFO Convention.
Okay, I would go.
It might be a good laugh and pulled in.
I would definitely go.
The woods to a clearing where they saw several people in attendance. None of them looked like they did. They were all straight-laced types. We definitely stood out. There was no other people there at all that looked like they were hippies, Bob recalled. They were greeted by the convention leader who welcomed them
I mean, a
into the
UFO
group.
convention sounds like fun.
Bob and Laurel sat and listened as a bevy of speakers got up and relayed their own personal UFO encounter stories, something the young newlyweds felt was a little too far out there for their tastes. Me and Bob were just sitting there rolling our eyes because we thought that the stories were pretty ridiculous, noted Laurel. By late afternoon, the couple decided to leave. The convention leader informed them that they can't leave and that they were preparing a ceremony for them.
Okay, that's weird.
That they had been chosen. That
I would get the fuck out of Dodge.
Suddenly, the group began having what Laurel likened to a counterfeit religious ceremony.
Yeah.
One man even began speaking in tongues.
Yeah, I'd get out while I could.
He seemed almost demon-possessed, and we started feeling anxious and uncomfortable, recalled Laurel. The leader then did some kind of bizarre ritual imitation. The group surrounded the couple, stopping them from leaving. Then the leader took some oil and rubbed it on their foreheads, making the sign of a cross.
Oh, okay.
Afterwards, the group turned and walked away. It was suddenly over. Despite the strange experience, Bob and Laurel, both tired and feeling it was too late to drive in such an isolated area, decided to set up camp in some nearby woods. They planned to leave first thing in the morning after getting some sleep. Before turning in for the night, they sat outside their tent talking under the stars, mostly about what had just happened. Their chatter was interrupted by the sound of a weird hum.
This is not a fun UFO convention.
It was pitch black. There was no light in the sky except the stars, Bob recalled.
This is not a fun
the
UFO
hum was
convention.
A very low droning. It's constant, it's not changing, and it's getting a little bit louder and a little bit louder. And we are finally able to zero in that it's coming from back behind the tree line, noted Laurel. At that moment, a lighted object came over the trees and stopped directly over them.
This is the last Beyond Creepy video for the day, by the way.
It lit up the ground. I looked up at the object. I could see nothing in it except pure light, Bob said. Laurel started to feel sick to her stomach. She began crying, and the couple held each other as the object remained there above them. I was convinced it was going to land in our field, Laurel thought. Both were convinced that the events of earlier in the day with the cult had caused this. It had brought this, whatever it was, to them, and they were terrified. Bob voiced to Laurel that if it landed, they were not going to get in the craft, or machine as Bob referred to it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, to be honest with you.
I remember wiping my forehead as just a physical action to denounce anything that has been placed upon us, Laurel said. She then screamed at the object that they would not go inside if it landed. "We will not get on your UFO," Laurel recalled saying. From there, the object went behind the tree line on the opposite side of the field and was gone. The couple breathed a sigh of relief. They never saw the cult again, and over the years they have pondered the events of that day and just who these strange people were. Did they have a connection with this light? We can't put the pieces together, Laurel wondered. Laurel and Bob Gilkey's story was recreated for the Travel Channel special, UFOs Crash My Vacation, which aired in 2013. Puerto Rico, 1987. A young woman by the name of Maria Rivera claims that she was invited by a close friend to join her for an evening out, though this evening out didn't involve bar hopping. She informed Rivera that she knew a group of individuals who claimed to be in contact with extraterrestrials.
Okay, what would you do if you personally, had one of your friends claim to be in contact with a group of individuals who could contact aliens? What would you do? That's a thought that just occurred to me, and I can't get that out of my head now. I'm sorry.
They had planned to meet.
Like, why aren't you telling people? Why aren't you telling scientists? Why aren't you telling?
Thinking it might be interesting, Rivera agreed to go.
Why aren't you bringing the press?
The group met up and with flashlights hiked out to the area of the Cascade. It was around 1 a.m. According to Maria, soon after arriving, they all began to hear strange noises.
I'm sorry. I'll stop now. I'll apologize.
Both sides of the forest. At first, she thought it was other members of the group that had arrived earlier communicating with each other. but given the reaction of the others, she determined that that wasn't it. Soon they could also hear a sound resembling some type of gibberish in rapid succession, like mice. Sometimes it seemed to come at different speeds, climbing and lowering in intensity. It was at that point that something truly terrifying began to play out. Rivera and the others suddenly saw a glow coming from the forest. As Rivera focused
I
on the
don't know what
glow,
I
she
would do
could
if
make
I
out
saw a
several
glow come out of the
strange
forest.
beings
Probably walk
with
away
large
slowly, I'm
glowing
going to be
eyes
honest. I'm sorry.
standing inside the glow. Whatever these things were, Maria knew right away that they were not human. It became apparent that the noises they had been hearing originated from these creatures that were now jumping and running amongst the trees in the forest around the group. The eyes of the creatures were large, quote, like light bulbs, and slanted to the sides. In the dark, their skin tone could not be discerned, but they appeared to be very thin, almost skeleton-like. What was seen of their skin seemed to emanate a soft phosphorescence. Their muscle tone appeared sinewy, and they all had very thin, dangling arms. Rivera noted she could not see their hands. The creatures moved around stealth-like and ghostly movements. At one point, everything became quiet, and the group that had invited Maria and her friend suddenly and unexpectedly began to kneel on the ground. Rivera and her friend had no idea what was going on, and they remained standing. This continued for upwards of 25 minutes, the group in a kneeling position while Maria and her friend, too frightened to leave, especially in the dark, remained standing, looking around frantically. Rivera noted that during that time there was total silence in the area. Everything was eerily quiet, no birds, etc. She likened it to being in some sort of vacuum. Suddenly several balls of light appeared, white in color, moving through the air in a side-to-side motion. From far away they seemed small, but were exceptionally large up close. Rivera and her friend hugged each other in fear, observing the strange spectacle around them, and were still the only ones standing. At one point, one of the bright spheres flew in between Rivera's legs, and she felt a strange, paralyzing sensation.
I don't know if I would like this. I'm
The bright
sorry.
spheres seemed to concentrate on the two women and ignore the rest, flying around their heads and circling their bodies. Suddenly, the bright
This
spheres
all sounds
shot up into the air
very
and vanished.
nightmarish if I experienced it in
Almost immediately
reality.
after the light vanished, the rest of the group stood up.
Gonna be honest with you.
The forest sounds seemed to return. Rivera, completely freaking out at this point, approached the leader of the group, a guy named Jose, and frantically began asking him a series of questions. She demanded to know exactly what had just happened, and what the lights were, what the figures were.
Yeah, those are all good
His only
questions.
response
Yep.
was to tell Maria not to speak to anyone about what they had seen that night.
That's all very good questions, Mega Man. That's all very good questions, Mega Man. That just looks like someone's grandpa. Peter Byrne. He was probably somebody's grandpa. Well, that's the stream. I'd like to thank you for coming. We have. I'm gonna sign us off on something. I decided I'm choosing something here. I'm gonna choose a national anthem, and I'm gonna thank the fine people of Poland for sponsoring the stream. No, Poland does not actually sponsor these streams. Nobody does. So thank you, Poland. You sure are a country on this earth currently right now as we speak. Tomorrow, probably Silent Hill 3, and Friday, maybe something different, something unusual. Maybe I'm thinking of doing something called... So, tomorrow I might do Silent Hill, or I've been wanting to do a bit where I look at some games that I've played but never beaten before and attempting to beat them. And something I want to do is like backlogging is what I'm going to call that segment. So maybe Thursday or Friday I might try the first backlogging stream. Thank you all for coming. It means a lot to me that people come to these streams, even if it's just 1 or 2 or 3 people. Good bad Polish JoJo's!